Welcome to another episode of Profits of IT, the podcast where sharp minds meet sharper tools. I'm your host, Jim Punzenberger, founder of the Managed Prospecting System, the only IT marketing agency that lets you write your own guarantee for us. Today's guest is somebody who is challenging big tech's bloated ways and rewriting the rules of infrastructure. Abraham is president and senior network infrastructure engineer at Jentu and CDOC. So before we get into this, I'd like to quickly mention my day job. I'm not just a podcast host all day. I also do some things that actually make me money. And so if you're an expert looking to get noticed and become an authority in your market, whether that's IT or software or services, be sure to check out managedprospectingsystem.com. We get you in front of the right decision makers, whether that be in their inbox, in their Google search, or if they're looking on YouTube. Plus, we're the only IT marketing agency that lets you write your own guarantee for us. So be sure to check out managedprospectingsystem.com. So, Abraham, why don't you take a quick moment to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your company or companies?
Okay. Well, I'm a senior network engineer. I've worked for some major companies in the past. And during that time period, I always came across the same problem. It was always about network infrastructure and both the delays and the repair tactics and everything that went in between. So a ways back in the 2000s, my computer company called CDOC, or Computer Doctors on Call, um, I saw the opportunity to start working with a piece of hardware to damaging little bugs that snafu your business. So basically, after utilizing that tool for about maybe 6 months to a year, I realized I had to be in charge of it because the tools and the control models and everything that they did, constant updates, constant changes, they broke the tools, they repaired the tools. And I said, who's in charge of this? If it's someone else, I couldn't control the fix. So what I did is I hired a few individuals and said, guys, here is what I'm working with. Here's what I'd like to do. And one by one, some of them are still with me, believe it, all these decades later. But one by one, we cobbled together infrastructure software and then realized it became too overwhelming and bloated. So we went from CDOC transitioning into Gentoo, which used to stand for the second generation of IT reimagined and re-engineered. We just couldn't deal with the constant bloat. So like a mechanic sticking his hands in the engine, we started throwing pieces out one by one until we were left with 3 to 5, maybe 6 small tools, and then created a management console and controlled it all. And then one night, like all engineers and developers,
Right.
blurry-eyed, 30th coffee, something gone wrong. And we realized, we turned to each other and said, you know what we've done? And everybody turned around and said, yeah, we've actually succeeded in re-engineering IT. And basically, Gentoo was born. We sat there deliberating names for the company. That took like 2, 3 days on its own. And then one of the guys said, well, what do you call this? Well, it's the second generation of diskless compute that we were working on. And he said, so you mean Gen 2? And we looked it up, Googled it, millions of hits for Gen 2 or Jennifer 2. And without any, there was no hubris or ego in this. We just said, what if we change it to JEN and TOO or TU? And we wanted that extra emphasis on the oo. So somebody said, oh, yeah, you could use those little 2 dot umlaut thing. And we all said, okay, this sounds crazy, but let's put it together and hunt and see if anybody exists. No one. There was no one. I said, you know what, guys? You've all selected it. This sounds good. I'm part of that. I'm good with it. Let's
That's
do
how
it.
you
And Gentoo was born.
that's how you come up with a name out of thin air.
Yeah, and believe me, when we had come up with it, we didn't sit there and party because we were exhausted. It's like day in and day out of designing. You'll sit there till 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning and suddenly realize, oh my goodness, we have to start working in less than 3 hours. There's no time to go home and get some sleep or change of clothes. So we made sure that we had everybody bring a change of clothes to the office just in case we hit that right stride. And mind you, my wife said, you're only like a block from the house. Why don't you guys just come, take a shower, change your clothes, go back to the office? You'll make it in time and you'll even have enough time to grab a coffee on the way. Woman was my hero and champion because while the guys were coming in, taking showers and getting ready, she prepared for them breakfast and we had that team breakfast that you think that somebody put out a master
Huh?
platter for everybody. It was one of those moments you can never forget. And then when we hit it, all we did was meet with instead of open arms, we met with a lot of resistance. And believe me, the
I
resistance
can
was
imagine
unbelievable.
there's a lot of skeptics out there, especially when you say what I heard was, I think you mentioned 1 megabyte in that you've like compressed this all down into like something as light as one megabyte in the
Yeah,
on a client.
that's it. The client server, aside from the operating system, which you could use. I think we had like 3 or 4 flavors. You could do Ubuntu, Debian, and FreeBSD as the back end. Aside from their application system, our software is 1 megabyte or less. And when you get to that, we pretty much what we say we funneled it under one, and one is all you really need. And the rest is up to you. How big your storage for your images, and that's a personal preference more than anything else.
Wow. So can you tell us a little bit more about, what that looks like? How does it like you know, what does 1 megabyte get you and as far as when you're actually got it deployed?
Well, once you deploy the operating system, any operating system, that 1 megabyte is just a control model. There's nothing really in that software. The whole application that we have is in a website. The reason we wrote it in a website is we wanted it to A, be able to be dispersed globally. B, we wanted control of those end site servers. We wanted people to be able to utilize them. But we always realized at the time, mind you, we had just all moved from dial-up technologies to high-speed internet, and it was still crawling its way up to high speed. But we all realized that one day the internet may crash again. So how do we make sure that our software allows for all these companies to be disaggregated, to be able to run with all the power and performance, but still control the product so nobody's updating it and pulling the rug out from underneath people? And the answer was we keep it light, we keep it simple, we keep it web-based, but make it small enough, fast enough that you can use it even on dial-up. And all I can say is we showed this to I won't mention the gentleman's name without his permission, of course, but we were at Ernst and Young and we showed it to him, and the man was like, "Impossible, no way, that's just not ever possible." So then I showed him that the whole thing. I don't know if my cell phone shows. Yeah, there we go. I showed him the cell phone remote controlling uh, not only the entire environment locally, but using that to remote connect to another location with 10 more computers,
Uh-huh.
and all of it was working beyond his imagination. He says, "Man, you guys are the future of IoT and RPA." And at the time, I didn't know what he's referring to because acronyms, just a short way of saying you don't know what remote process automation is. Yeah, I've been doing it for 30 years, but when you call it RPA, okay, it's an acronym.
Right.
I do realize a lot of people love acronyms, but an acronym doesn't actually put that nail directly where it belongs, because remote process just means some method of duplicating the environment and being able to control whatever tool that's at the endpoint, whether it's CNC machines, robotic arms, uh, your computer network, your infrastructure. So we got it. And then the IoT portion, we kind of knew we nailed it.
Cool. So, it sounds like you really have gone against the grain, so to speak, or a standout from the herd. What would you say is one of the things that other so-called experts doubted you most on, and how did you like eliminate, prove them wrong, so to speak?
Well, I wasn't actually trying. It was kind of crazy. We introduced this, like all small companies, we put our pound of flesh, as they say, into trade shows and demos and all sorts of things. And when we're standing at a trade show, you could get a group of maybe, I don't know, 75 into our little booth. The other group had a 300 to 400 seat arrangement. And these gentlemen had to tear down the curtain between us because everybody in their booth wanted to hear what we were talking about because we were doing something different. We had put outside in the showroom floor 10 computers running all the movies you want. And being at a trade show, you have a very, very limited bandwidth on the internet. And some people would fly in from California to these events and they bring their little USB key and he says, "Can we try it on your device?" Sure. If you got a virus on there, nail it. And he's like, guys going, no, 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 this is just VoIP. Plugged it in, turned it on. As soon as he did, he put on a little headset and said, "Can you guys hear me?" I said, "What are you talking to Verizon?" And he was laughing. He says, "No, no, they're saying it's latency free. They're hearing no jitter and no." I said, "Well, that's what we've been telling everybody. There's no latency at the endpoint, so there shouldn't be any latency." And then the guy came back to us from the trade show floor and he said, "Are you guys using that for communications? It might not work." And the guy turned to him and says, "It's working quite well." So in limited bandwidth, we were able to provide them a method to communicate that actually worked for them. And again, we didn't go to the get-go and say, "That's what we're going to do." We just said, "Hey, test it, play with it." And one of the things the guy did while he was testing it, it was still running 10 to 12 movie streams simultaneously, plus Flight Simulator in the background, plus Microsoft Office and all of its tools. And they just said, this is the product they want to use. And then they talk about, what about security? And so every time they put a card on the table, how do we address it? Um, it seems like we addressed it naturally, and it was no fight to begin with. The big boys did come along and did ask us to buy us out, and the number was not right. And as in any sale of anything, if the number ain't right, don't sell it.
That makes sense. I wouldn't give away the farm for peanuts.
Or
Uh,
three magic beans.
so if MSPs that are listening or other IT professionals that are listening and want to maybe have something that's lightweight like you offer, what do you tell them to as far as steps on what they should take to maybe implement something like this or learn more about a solution like this?
Well, the first thing we tell anybody, come see it for yourself. Book a demo with us online is the easiest one. You don't even have to leave your desk. If you've done seeing the demo and you really still have this is impossible, this is vaporware or any other kind of topic you want to call it, we always say, put your money where your mouth is. Come down here, come visit it, come see it, play with it with your own hands. And if it does what you think it does, then you're ready to take the next step. We had a company fly in from Taiwan. Turned out that they're a Citrix Gold partner, and I really enjoyed that because he was telling you straight up front that, hey, we are already a Citrix house. We already use this tool, and we're not interested in changing it. And I said, no, I don't want you to. I want you to use the tools that work for your business, that work for what you need. But if you don't already have what we're offering, now you have to ask yourself, do you really have what you need? And the guy said, well, show it to me. And I said, great, come on down. He flew in from Taiwan, of course, a day delay because he needed to get some sleep from that
Right.
trip. But we put a computer in front of him, and the computer was an Intel NUC, a little teeny tiny computer. And he says, what's that for? I said, well, that's the Gentoo that you're playing with. He says, come on. No, that's the Gentoo box. Have fun with it. He said, okay, what do I need to do to it? Absolutely nothing. Then I put in front of him as many different servers as he would like. And I said, there's a switch, there's the Gentoo box, there's a server. Plug it in and tell me what tools you want to run, and I'll be your hands for the demonstration. And I had also an engineer from Utah, one fantastic guy named Dave, and he was there. We just let this guy ask all the craziest questions he could come up with. And to me, there's nothing crazy about a question. It means you're one step closer to the knowledge you're looking for. And he says, all right, what if I install Citrix? Okay, what if you install Citrix? He says, I'd like to see it. So I said, would you like to see it with a hard drive or without a hard drive? He goes, for now, the old fashioned way, put a hard drive in the server box. We did, and we powered up Citrix. And the funny part is, uh, I don't say that Citrix is bad. Citrix is great. It does certain things that we don't do. We're not
Mhm.
looking to do those functionalities. But we started 3 VMs, and a VM is very heavy load on the server. So when we threw those 3 VMs together, I said, what would happen if we ran IOmeter and thrashed the daylights out of that VM? After 3 VMs, we basically uh, caused enough latency that they said, well, you see, your product's not doing anything. I said, we're not using our product just yet. He said, well, okay, delete those 3 VMs and show me how Gentoo changes the paradigm for at least for him. So all we did is plug an Ethernet cable from that server over to the Gentoo server through the switch, took out the those VMs, set up the new VMs disklessly, applied them to our technology, rebooted them, and we went up to 26 VM, not 3. And we ran out of RAM first, but each one of them was 1 millisecond, which means absolutely no load, and 2 millisecond for write, which all of this was read. So really, wasn't a really fair test, but one with read, two with write, we're doing pretty good.
Wow. So what would be, mentioned listeners should check out your website and there's scheduling link on your website, or what's
Yep.
the details?
www.gentoo-networks.com. Click book a demo, reach out, tell us a little bit more about your infrastructure in that meetup. And then somebody will get back to you, whether it's myself, Kathy, or John. Somebody will get back to you and we'll book a demo for you and show you and your entire team. Now, if you want to do a really deep dive, we send you out a non-disclosure agreement like anybody else. We're not looking for bragging rights. We don't want to talk about your company. We want you to have the privacy you need and deserve. But when we do that, we'll also show you Gentoo Secure and Gentoo Shield. The two of them together, sorry, my apologies. It's Gentoo Guard and Gentoo Shield, which create a product called Gentoo Secure. It's two models that'll allow you to both deploy your websites or any other functionality within your organization with a complete no ingress technology, allowing you to quite literally fly as fast as you like, but with no one getting in the box but you.
Cool.
So, yeah,
Well,
I love it.
this has been really exciting. I'd call it even maybe a little badass, just listening about it. So, any final thoughts before we end the end the show for today?
If your company is looking for something that's a paradigm, if you're looking to save money on your IT, your infrastructure, whether it's your local desks that you're deploying or your cloud infrastructure, and I do mean your server rack with 20, 30, 40 servers, and you want to reduce the load, eliminate the cost of maintaining it, reduce the hard drive load on your system, and start reducing the heat that's being produced in your data center, whether it's AI or whether it's cloud compute, give us a call, give it a try, and find out how it'll work for you. The simplicity behind it produces the solution that most people are looking for.
Cool. Well, thank you for your time here today and sharing. It's been
Thank you,
wonderful
Jim.
having you on. And until next time, I am Jim Punzenberger, your host and the creator of the Managed Prospecting System. Be sure to check out managedprospectingsystem.com. And until next time, stay hydrated and caffeinated.